Okay, get this. Breaking. Florida Senate committee has unanimously passed a bill that would give the death penalty to those who commit sex crimes against children. And I know, like this guy is saying, soon to leave the nation and executing evangelical preachers. Nah. I hope that is made half as a joke, because of course we know that if this really were about children, if this really were about groomers, if this really were about sex crimes against children, all of these religious fuckers would be getting the death penalty. Of course, that isn't what it's about at all. This is about all out genocide against LGBTQ. And don't say it isn't, because in quick succession, Florida has determined that drag, makeup, and trans people, it's illegal in the state of Florida, even in public. Anywhere you are in the state of Florida, if a man is in drag, if a man is wearing makeup, if a man is wearing a dress for whatever reason, and of course you know that's going to include transgender women, men that want to transition to women or are in the process of transitioning, or they are just starting the process or just experimenting, whatever the hell they want to do. That is considered a sex crime against children. That's first off. Second off, they have passed this bill that says the death penalty goes to those who commit sex crimes against children. So, if it is illegal to be in drag, if it is illegal for a man to be in a dress, a man to be in a wig, a man to wear makeup for whatever reason, and this would surely include transitioning male to females, that is now considered a sex crime, and now sex crimes against children are punishable by the death penalty. But that's not all. Wait, there's more. DeSantis has just decided that a bill will be passed, or it has been passed. I have got to look it up to be sure. That now says a jury does not have to be unanimous to vote for the death penalty. You only need like 8 jurors now. As long as there are at least 8 out of the 12 voting in favor of the death penalty, it can no longer be considered a hung jury. No mistrial, no retrial. All you need is 8. You no longer need 12 angry men or 12 angry people. All you need is 8 of the right people on the jury, and now these people will be sentenced to death. So think about it for a minute. Wow, that sounds like a pretty decent deal. Death penalty for committing sex crimes against children. But you just said that drag and trans is considered a sex crime against children. A man with makeup in a dress or a transgender female anywhere on a public fucking street, at the carnival, at the park, walking out of his own goddamn home. If it's anywhere that a minor can see it, it's considered a sex crime against a child. So that is a sex crime against a child. And now they passed the unanimous bill that makes a sex crime against a child punishable by death. And now they want no more hung juries. All you need is 8 jurors to vote in favor of the death penalty, and the death penalty stands. Do you see where this is going? Do you see what the end game is? I don't care what anybody says. And I think this is a little bit too serious of an issue for people to be making jokes. Because it is a joke. Well, Florida's going to lead the nation in executing religious people. I guess Florida's going to lead the nation in imprisoning and then executing on only an 8 out of 12 jury vote to execute evangelicals, to execute preachers, to execute clergy, to execute random incel greasy fat douchebags that are caught by internet predator hunters in the state of Florida, right? Wrong. I'll guarantee you the headlines will keep churning out of the state of Florida one after another about this priest and this pastor and this youth group leader and this Jesus freak and this fat fuck who went to meet a 13-year-old outside a Starbucks, and even your own politicians. Because we know the vast, overwhelming majority are in these exact positions. These are the people that commit sex crimes against children. And I'll guarantee you the headlines will continue to come out of Florida of all manner of clergymen and cops and youth group leaders and after-school coaches and politicians, overwhelmingly right-wing politicians, that are going to be caught committing sex crimes against children, and nothing is going to happen. We're not going to hear of anything happening to them. Or they will be prosecuted, but to a lesser extent. I'll guarantee you that. I will put money on it right now. That the only people that are going to feel the brunt of this are going to be LGBTQ. It's going to be trans women. It's going to be drag queens. It's going to be anybody that anyone thinks is a man in a dress or wearing lipstick or a wig. I will put money on it right here and now that it will be a week. I will give it a week until we find out that some poor schmuck in Florida has been arrested on charges of committing a sex crime against a child because somebody recognized his hairpiece as a wig in public. He left his home. He went to eat an ice cream cone in the park. Maybe he's gay. Maybe he's with his partner. Maybe he's with his friends. Who the hell knows? And some MAGA DeSantis ass-licking fuck is gonna point and say, you're out in public and you're wearing a fucking wig. That's a sex crime against children. You goddamn groomer. And they're going to arrest him on charges of sex crimes against children, and he will be arguing with his lawyer in court and to the press and to the whole fucking nation that he wears a wig because of a health problem. Because he's got cancer, or he's going through chemo, Or maybe something as innocuous as he's balding and is in the middle of a hair transplant, and that's why he wears a wig. And is it a woman's wig? Who the hell knows? And who cares? That's why we're in America. I don't have to explain my choice in hair pieces to you. But that's what's going to happen. I will guarantee you that. This is the type of shit that's going to start happening. Innocent people, for no reason whatsoever, are going to be pointed at and they're going to be dragged off to jail because these fucking morons on the right are using this as an excuse to get rid of trans people, to get rid of the gays, to get rid of drag queens that Fox News tells them pounds into their head 24 hours a day is what they should be worrying about with all the shit going on in this country. And just like that pregnant woman who got shot in Tennessee, I think, I'm not sure, one of these totally open carry states with no tests and no permits and no training. This pregnant woman got shot because some average douchebag at a store thought she was shoplifting from the store. I don't even think he was an employee. Just some average fucker took out his gun and shot a pregnant woman because he decided that she must have been shoplifting. Now, her and the fetus are in critical condition. Either one or both of them may die. And if they don't die, there is the possibility of life-altering consequences, health-wise. And the guy is claiming self-defense. Chased a pregnant woman out of a store he doesn't work for and shot the pregnant woman. And people are already saying they're going to buy his excuse and he's going to get off scot-free. Because absolutely no gun control. No control whatsoever. And then there are people on the other side saying, what do you expect is going to happen? This is going to happen left and right. Now imagine this shit in Florida. This shit in Florida. Don't take a look at it and say, wow, anyone who commits a sex crime against children is going to be up for the death penalty automatically. No. They just said that being in drag, even in public, a place where you can wear whatever the hell you want in a non-fascist country. Fascist countries do that shit. Stopping people on the fucking sidewalk and dragging them away to jail because they're wearing the wrong thing, because they have the wrong hairstyle. Absolutely ridiculous, stupid fucking shit like that. That happens in fascist, totalitarian nations. That does not happen in a free nation. And those types of laws do not get passed by people who value freedom. It is an excuse when it's become illegal to be a trans woman or to be in drag because it's considered a sex crime against children. If a child can see you, even if there is no child present, and then it's announced it's the death penalty for sex crimes against children, then it's announced no more hung juries, no longer has to be unanimous. All you need is 8 people out of the 12. And that person gets killed for wearing lipstick for wearing a dress, for wearing the color pink. And it's going to happen in Florida, just like with that pregnant woman getting shot by some random turd. I think you're wearing makeup. You're wearing makeup. Well, you're gay. You're out here with another guy. You're obviously gay. So I think that's lipstick. I think that's a wig. That's a sex crime against children. They're going to call, and a lot of innocent people are going to go to jail over this. Even people that are not trans, even people that are not in drag, like I said, I give it a week before some guy undergoing chemo or suffering from alopecia gets thrown in jail because he's wearing the wrong wig. Or he has acne and he wants to cover up the acne with foundation and he picks the wrong shade. But Donald Trump is still allowed to hang around down there, walking around with a face 25 shades darker than his skin tone, rubbing off on his collar. That's makeup, motherfucker. Makeup is supposed to be illegal in Florida on a man because that could be considered drag. Makeup is for women. Do you think anything's going to happen to him in Florida? It's going to happen to a lot of other men. Do you think it's going to happen to Trump? Do you think he's being arrested in Florida this week? I need to look up how many current politicians and clergymen in the state of Florida are in jail right now for actual sex crimes against children, because I want to keep track of how many of them are now looking at the death penalty, what they have to say. I mean, if this were true, if it were really about protecting children, then this headline here for this post wouldn't be a joke. Where are the news stations? Where are these broadcasters? Where are these people flooding, no pun intended, the state of Florida to go to all the local jails and speak with some of these clergymen and ex-politicians and Boy Scout troop leaders and the like, these white, right-wing, religious sex offenders against children, because this has got to be one hell of a news story. People talk about sensationalizing things that shouldn't be made fun of. People shouldn't be gawking at it. Television today, the news today, reality television. It's a modern day freak show. It's Barnum and Bailey 2.0. P.T. Barnum at it again in the form of a daytime talk show host. It's all about exploiting the freaks. And it's wrong and it's in horrible taste. These are convicted or jailed sex offenders against kids. You would think that would be a little type of exploitation in the news, making fun of the freaks, making fun of something that normally would be a serious matter. You shouldn't make fun of it because they are child molesters and child sex offenders. You would think they definitely wouldn't have a problem. All going down to the state of Florida, going into these jails, walking down the street, talking to these right-wing, christo-fascist clergy members, politicians, GOP members that are in jail for sex crimes, actual sex crimes against kids, and saying, Tell us how it feels. Tell us how freaking scared you are. Show us. Cry for the camera. Speak into the microphone. We want to hear you. America wants to hear you. How fucking scared you are. How much of a meltdown all you people are having, because now you're going to be facing the death penalty. And you don't even need a unanimous verdict. You only need 8 people on the jury to decide that you're guilty. This is the new law in the state of Florida. So, in other words, you're as good as dead. You're a dead man walking, and you, and you, and you. How does it feel? And I don't feel guilty about doing this to you because you're a fucking pedo. Where are they? This law was just passed. I'm sure there are plenty of child sex offenders. I just saw a video yesterday of some disgusting incel piece of crap, and I believe it was in the state of Florida, caught by these online Chris Hansen wannabe Predator Sting guys from YouTube that confronted this guy who thought he was ready to meet a 13-year-old. By Florida's new laws, that guy should be arrested. They should just be going down to the state of Florida. They really want to make a difference. They really want to make an example out of these people. This is the new law in Florida. Why don't you, instead of threatening to call the cops, call the fucking cops? Because this is a death sentence for them. Where are you? It's because everybody knows what it's really about. Everybody knows what the end game is. This is a genocide in the making against LGBTQ. That's why this law was passed. That's why the preceding requirements were deemed illegal. A leads to B, leads to C. No more drag, no more trans, no more anything that anyone could point to and say that's not how a man should look. That's not how a man should dress. That's what they consider drag. That's what they consider trans. And they call it sexual. So anywhere these people are in public, it is an arrestable offense. It is considered a sex crime against children. This is who they're going to jail, waste time and money and energy going after. To them, LGBTQ are being made the sex offenders. And sex offender leads to death penalty. And death penalty means now you only need 8 jurors. Do you understand what it's about? Do you see what's going on? And I still would love for people to be banging down their representative's door. Here's so-and-so from a church who was just outed as molesting young boys. Why isn't he arrested, and when will he be facing his death penalty after he's convicted? How many years on death row will you be paying for these people? Because this is your law. Here's a clergyman. Here's another clergyman. Here's a Boy Scout MAGA troop leader who was found with child porn on his laptop. Here's a former member of the GOP Here's this person who is not trans. Here's that person who is not a drag queen. And this person and this person and this person. And that's how it's going to be, because trans people are like 0.5% of this population. You are going to have far more clergymen and members of the GOP and just plain old disgusting incels that commit sex crimes against children than you will ever find in drag queens or gay men or transitioning male to females. So I still would like to see people from news outlets all over this nation sticking to DeSantis and the GOP, the legislature in the state of Florida, like a fungus on their ass. You want to pass this shit? We're going to be keeping an eye on you. We are going to find out how many good right-wing white Christians actually commit sex crimes versus how many LGBTQ start getting arrested in droves. We will be watching, we will be waiting, and we expect answers. We are going to be on you like a fly on shit, making sure that since you care so much about the children, that every sex offender against a child faces that death penalty. Let's see how many other people think it's a fucking joke. Ridiculous shit. Yep. This, like all laws they're passing, will be selectively enforced. Preachers will get a slap on the wrist. Just ignored like it has been for decades. Weird. They also passed laws making drag shows and being trans around children a criminal offense, and reduced the verdict ratio from unanimous to 2/3 of jurors. You're not supposed to be putting that together. Yep, trying to define dressing in drag around children as a sex crime. Probably also with adoption by LGBTQ parents in mind. Holy crap, and that's another aspect that I didn't even think of today. There are LGBTQ parents. There are gay and trans parents. There are people with children who are LGBTQ. What will they think of next? They were not stopped at phase 1. They were not stopped at phase 2. They were not stopped at phase 3. Nobody is saying or doing shit. So when it comes to DeSantis, when it comes to the GOP, when it comes to these christo-fascist morons, you better believe that is what's going to come next. They will not stop. Very scary. Think of the darkest reasons these ghouls have to pass these laws. That is the end goal here. Soon it will be same-sex PDA getting classified the same way. You know that's coming. no drag, no trans. Next, they will go for the LGBTQ parents. Next, it will be no public displays of affection between same-sex couples because that's sexual. It's a sex crime because there are children around. They will not stop until they've reached their end goal, which is eradication of all LGBTQ. That is the end goal. And like I said, I don't have much of it, but I will put money on it. I'll put all the money I have on it. Just like I will put all the money I can get on the fact that I give it maybe a week before the first completely innocent LGBTQ man is arrested, forcibly arrested, thrown in jail, and facing a death penalty because he had a wig for aesthetic reasons. Because he wore a pink jacket because it's cold out and he doesn't own a jacket. Because he wanted to cover up his zits for a date and went into somebody's foundation bottle and it's the wrong shade of foundation and some mega Karen fucking bitch at the restaurant pointed at him and said, "You fucking groomer, you're wearing makeup." That's illegal in my state of Florida. And they arrest him. That's what's going to happen. A lot of innocent people, not to mention the fact that transitioning male to females or drag queens, not saying they're not innocent people, but this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to be used against anybody that fits the description of the type of people these christo-fascist right-wing nut jobs don't like. Pretty much proceeding exact the same way World War II Germany did. Very obvious parallels. Been trying to convince my queer friends to start applying for visas because they face the distinct possibility of needing to get out of the country. Scary part is you need to have precognition. You will need to go before it's too late. And once it's way too late, way too soon, they're not going to let you leave. Eight to 4 for the jury. 66% agreement. That's not even a passing grade. Oh, and a non-zero amount of poor, mostly brown and black people would be murdered by the state for a crime they didn't commit. Oops. Please take into account what Florida now considers a sexual crime against a child. They're not thinking a grown white fat Republican fucking a kid. They're thinking a man who wears a dress to go to his job. Yep, just gonna say, considering it's Florida, no one that is actually committing crimes will ever see justice because this is designed to create a profile of what they want to paint a pedophile as. Soon it'll be any adult who respects preferred pronouns. Florida, over just the last couple of weeks, did number one, drag around children is a sexual offense against children. 2, made the death penalty an 8-4 decision instead of unanimous. 3, made said death penalty an automatic sentence for anyone committing sex crimes against children. Connect the fucking dots, people. Pro-life. Yeah, I just don't see a link between the 3. Next step of the genocide. This is definitely targeting drag queens in its intention. Trans women as well, although the average Republican probably could never tell you the difference. Yeah, that's a great point. That's another problem. These fucking Republicans can't tell the difference. Do you think the average right-wing christo-fascist Republican can tell you the difference between a trans woman, a transvestite, a drag queen, and a gay man? Do you think if you drew them a diagram and gave them a tiny little synopsis of each individual, that they would be able to understand the difference? Nope. And I've heard way too many of these people say they don't care, or at least they pretend that they don't care, not to know a fucking thing. Because in their minds, all they have to do is continue to tell themselves they're right, they're doing the right thing. It's God, it's religion, they're a Christian. Like I bitched about the other day with this pro-life Christian douchebag talking to Trudeau in Canada. This is how they think. They are going to continue to say with conviction, I don't want to read studies. I don't want to read medical books. I don't care what an expert says. I don't care what doctors say. I don't care what psychologists say. I don't care what Sigmund Freud said. I don't care what the most brilliant people in the world have to say. I don't care what people who spent half their fucking lives educating themselves on the human condition have to say, because I'm a Christian and it's wrong. So I don't care what the difference is between a drag queen and a transvestite. I don't care what the difference is between a trans woman and a transvestite. I don't care what the difference is between a gay guy who's wearing a wig and a drag queen who wears a wig. I don't know, I don't care, because I don't have to know. I don't have to care. It's wrong. It's wrong. And I'm a real patriot. And I'm a Christian. And I know I'm right. This is how they think. This is how genocide happens. This is why it's dangerous to think this way and then to act on it with impunity. Do you fucking understand? Wearing makeup, but not orange makeup. Ban books. Kill crimes against children. Goodbye priests. Next will be pink triangles and concentration camps. That's exactly what this is. Starts with drag, then to gay people, then to women who have sex, then anybody they fucking want. see, everyone here is just talking about drag. And see, that is another problem. They're just talking about drag. Yeah, and the anti-abortion laws and the anti-women's rights laws were, nothing to worry about. It's just for that state. You could just leave the state. Idaho is now a prison for all women and girls who find themselves with an unwanted or unviable pregnancy. It is a prison. You cannot leave the state to get the proper care. And every time these people get away with it, every time they pass one thing and nothing happens, it's like with people with simple consequences. You can see it. This is all a lesson in humanity that we should have learned by the time we were 12. When people do wrong and you don't do anything about it, that is literally no different than saying you are okay with it. And when people do not hold the power to give consequences for bad actions, or they refuse to give consequences for those bad actions, these people will do it again. Not only will they do it again, they will do it again with more gusto. Because no consequences means it must be completely all right. And then they will go further the next time. The more they go without consequences, the worse they get. This is what's happening in states like Florida and Idaho. When you don't do anything about it, they see they got away with it. And then they go further and they do it more. And it's never going to stop. So long as you allow it, they will never stop. And this is exactly the place Florida is heading. And people fucking do nothing. Civil rights groups have released a warning to LGBTQ. Do not enter the state of Florida. It is dangerous. It can kill you. Can you imagine that shit? These people, they're for a free America. They respect freedom. They lack the freedom. 30 years ago, you could drive down to Florida any old time you wanted, and you could enjoy it there because it's part of your country. We were supposed to be the United States. People went in and out of Florida primarily to go to Disneyland or Universal or whatever they have down there. That's what makes that state their fucking money. We know Florida has no shortage of fucking stupid people. But the only money they get, the only reason they're not like other red states like fucking Alabama or Arkansas, getting all their money from my state, a blue state, so their piss poor people don't starve, is because that's where Disney World is. That's where Universal and all these money-making places are. And he wants to go against Disney because they're woke. Disney pays your fucking salary. Disney owns your ass. Even with all the money they bring in for you, People still think of Florida as a shithole. But once upon a time, you could travel. Could you believe this? You could travel to any state you wanted without having to feel like you just handed over your passport and went through customs in Iran. That's what it's like today. People cannot go to certain states because it could kill them. People that are American, people that pay their taxes, people that live normal lives, people that believe in freedom. They believe in the freedom to make decisions for themselves. You can't do that anymore. Civil rights groups have to issue warnings. These states don't go to, because you might as well be crashing your plane into fucking Mogadishu. That's what it's like. I don't know. I said it before when it came to all these states taking away women's rights left and right. Girls, fucking 10-year-old girls, getting pregnant by family members because, of course, 10 years old, it is rape. Becoming a national spectacle because the state wants to kill her by forcing her to give birth to a rapist, incest child. That's the type of shit these states are doing. And now Florida's going all out against LGBTQ. And I said before, when it came to this erasing of women's rights, get your wives and your daughters out of those states. If you give a fuck about your own wives and daughters, you will get them the fuck out of those states. Fuck you. I'm sure you're the same dude account created an hour ago. You are that same dude, aren't you? With your fake fucking donations. Enjoy your report and your ban. Well, anyway, like I was saying, it's the same thing with Florida nowadays. Get the fuck out of that state. Just get them out. Don't worry about it anymore. Fuck Florida. They are now a lost cause. So, anyway, I had to get that out there. So, I'll see you all later.